Hello everyone. So today we are going to discuss about the course of trochlear nerve, and as we have discussed in the last video, it was the introduction or simple anatomy of the trochlear nerve, that its nucleus is located in the midbrain at the level of inferior colliculi, and it is the only nerve that arises or emerges from the posterior part of the midbrain and is the only nerve that decussate or crossover. That is a unique aspect of the trochlear nerve. This is the longest and the thinnest nerve, right? So we have discussed the introduction of trochlear nerve in the last video. Now we are going to see the course of trochlear nerve, that this nerve passes from which structures and how it reaches to the eye. So this is about the course of trochlear nerve or cranial nerve 4, right? And I've already told you that the trochlear nerve supplies a single muscle of the eye, which is the superior oblique muscle. So we are going to discuss over here that how the superior oblique moves, or what is the course, or what is the path or the route of the trochlear nerve, and how it gives the innervation to the superior oblique muscle, right? So this is the brain structure, and specifically this part is the brain stem, and this sea green portion is the mesencephalon. The mesencephalon is the other name of the midbrain. This pink structure is the bone, and this green structure is the medulla oblongata. So collectively we call this complete structure as the brain stem, and our point of focus will be on the mesencephalon, because we have to discuss about the course, right? And we are just discussing about the trochlear nerve 4, that is why. And I have told you that the trochlear nerve arises from the or at the level of inferior colliculi in this mesencephalon or midbrain. So what is the mesencephalon? It is the other name of the midbrain. The mesencephalon consists of a lot of structures, but right now, because we are discussing that from which structure trochlear nerve arises, so here is a tactile plate. This complete yellow and blue structure is a tactile plate, and this yellow blue structure is collectively known as the tactile plate, and the yellow part is the superior colliculi, and the inferior part blue structure is the inferior colliculi, right? So tactile plate is consists of these two colliculi, and you should know that at the level of inferior colliculi in the posterior midbrain, what happens, this is the posterior side and this is the anterior side, right? So in the posterior side, in the midbrain, at the level of this inferior or colliculi, what happens that the near the periaqueductal gray matter. So this orange structure is a periaqueductal gray matter. Near this structure is the nuclei of the trochlear nerve 4. So in this level, at the level of inferior colliculi, you need to remember two things: that midbrain is present at the level of inferior colliculi in the posterior part of the midbrain, right? So the two nuclei of trochlear nerve are located in this posterior part of the midbrain. So now when the trochlear nerve exits out of the midbrain, it crosses over. So here you can see that the nuclei is present over here, but the nuclei of the left left trochlear nerve is present in the right side. So what happens when the nerve fibers from the nuclei of right side emerges or arises, they cross each other. So right one moves to the left side and the left one moves to the right side, right? So this is how the decussation or crossing over occurs. Thus the nerve emerges from the nucleus of left side of the midbrain will move to the right side, and the right will move to the left side, and the nerve emerges. This one is the important thing, that the nucleus, that is if we are talking about the nerve of the right eye, that means its nucleus is present in the left side. Okay, so the nucleus that is emerging from the left side of the brain will move to the right side and towards the right eye, right? So this is what decussation means. So nerve emerging from the nuclei of right side of the midbrain will move to the left side and exactly to the left eye's superior oblique. This trochlear nerve will exit at posterior surface. You can see over here they are exiting, the trochlear nerve is exiting, and from the back of the posterior part of the midbrain, and it is moving forward. That is why it is the longest cranial nerve, because its root is from the posterior side. And you can see over here the oculomotor nerve, it is moving from the anterior or ventral aspect of the midbrain. So the difference between the oculomotor and trochlear nerve is that the nuclei of oculomotor nerve is relatively large or big as compared to the trochlear nerve, and the nuclei of trochlear nerve is small as compared to the oculomotor nerve. Secondly, the oculomotor nerve nucleus is present in the midbrain at level of superior colliculi, while the nuclei of trochlear nerve is located in the at the level of inferior colliculi in the midbrain. And the third difference is that the oculomotor nerve arises anteriorly or from the ventral surface of the midbrain, while the trochlear nerve arises from the posterior or the dorsal aspect of the midbrain. So this trochlear nerve will exit at the posterior surface, move alongside the midbrain very tightly, and then passes between the posterior cerebral and superior cerebellar arteries. So these are the two arteries from which the trochlear nerve passes. So we are discussing the course or the route of the trochlear nerve. So first structures that it passes to are the arteries, right? So the trochlear nerve will move from the posterior side of the midbrain. It will cross the posterior cerebral artery first, and then the superior cerebellar artery. So they are up and down, right? So this is how the it passes from the posterior cerebellar artery. Cerebral artery is above the trochlear nerve, and superior cerebellar artery is below the trochlear nerve, right? So what happens now, you can see we were discussing just a single brainstem over here, but now we have divided this part into the, we have made the whole complete brain structure so that you can understand how this nerve is moving. So this is here, it is a midbrain. So from the posterior side, trochlear nerve is arising, moving below the oculomotor nerve, and it will further, it passes from the two arteries, that is the posterior cerebral and the superior cerebellar artery, and then it will go to the, or move to the dura mater. It will pierce the dura mater, right? And then it will, the region will arise which is the cavernous sinus. So cavernous sinus is the structure that starts from the temporal bone of the brain, and it continues till the superior orbital fissure. So this trochlear nerve pierces the dura mater and enters the cavernous sinus and moves along the lateral wall of the cavernous sinus until the superior orbital fissure reaches, right? Superior orbital fissure is that opening to the orbits, right, from which the nerves enters and innervates the muscles and different structures, right, of the eye. So it is the opening of the orbit which is made by the junction of the two bones, two sphenoid bones, right? So what happens over here, that the superior orbital fissure, until the superior orbital fissure reaches, the trochlear nerve moves to the lateral wall of the cavernous sinus, and there are two further nerves which are above and below this nerve, right? So trochlear nerve moves in between the two nerves. The nerve which is above the trochlear nerve will be the oculomotor nerve, and the nerve which will be below to the trochlear nerve will be the ophthalmic division of the trigeminal nerve, right? So trigeminal nerve will move below the trochlear nerve, and the oculomotor nerve will move above the trochlear nerve, and they are moving in the lateral, along the lateral wall of the cavernous sinus. So from that cavernous sinus it runs to the superior orbital fissure and enters the orbit. I have told you superior orbital fissure is the route or the path to enter the, is an opening that will lead to the entrance of the, to the orbit, right? So it will enter the orbit, and from outside the annulus of zinn it will move towards the superior oblique into the, in the medial side, right? Why? Because the superior, its innervation, it innervates to the superior oblique muscle. Trochlear nerve innervates or supplies to the superior oblique muscle, and superior oblique muscle is the origination of the superior orbital, superior oblique muscle is the sphenoid bone. So it is formed by the, it is, its origination point is from the medial aspect of the sphenoid bone. So that is why it will move, and it is the origination point of the superior oblique is not the annulus of zinn, right? So that is why this nerve will move outside the annulus of zinn to supply or innervate the superior oblique muscle. So the trochlear nerve goes through the superior orbital fissure to innervate the superior oblique muscle of the eye. So this is the midbrain. From here it will pass through the arteries, and it will pierce the dura mater. It will move to the lateral side of the it will move to the lateral side of cavernous sinus, and then it will enter the eye, or sorry, orbit from the superior orbital fissure, and then it will move forward to innervate the superior oblique muscle. So this is this corner muscle is the superior orbital, sorry, superior oblique, and this nerve, trochlear nerve, will innervate to the superior oblique muscle of the eye for its action. So In the next video, we are going to discuss about the superior oblique muscle, its function, and what will happen if its palsy occurs. Till now, this was all about today's lecture. If you have any query regarding the topic or lecture, you can comment in comment section. Thank you so much.